All right, guys, welcome back to the channel here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today I have for you a brand new 2024 INEOS Grenadier, built on purpose, while I, on the other hand, was built on accident, but that's a video for a later date. Let's dive right into it. All right, coming in here to the inside, you do have a black piano type door trim here with this nice white leather. There are different options for gray right in here as well, but with that you do get this nice gray and black, it's kind of a grayish black and white seat here. All the seat controls are manual on these. Now right here it does look like there were provisions for something, I'm not exactly sure what for. None of the Grenadiers have anything that actually has a button there or anything like that. Of course, gas brake pedal, dead pedal, hood release, which you pull twice to do. Up here at the steering wheel, have this nice little line here that shows you where center is. Of course, the INEOS logo. You have a little toot horn, which is my favorite, cruise control, and like music controls, so skip forward, skip back, volume up and down, things like that. You do have a nice touchscreen here, which also can be used with this, what they call the center control interface. Has an options button to go to settings, audio, of course, for music, faves, which you can save pretty much anything to, but the biggest thing a lot of people like to save to is the intelligent speed assist, because you can just shut off the speed chime warning pretty much any time, which hopefully by the end of the year they will have the software update released for that. Off-road button, so you can go through all those screens, and I'll get to that in a bit. Menu and back. You also have the nice BMW shifter, which of course you put your foot on the brake, have your thumb on the left side here to unlock, pull back to go into drive, 2 clicks forward for reverse, kind of like a Cadillac, and the P on top for park. You have a nice 4 high-low shifter with a center diff lock over as well, and it's pretty easy to operate. Of course, you just slide it over for center diff lock, you can slide it back for high, and then of course you have to be in neutral with the car on to be able to get it in low. And then my favorite thing is you have an actual Rip-It e-brake, which is real nice. On this specific one, it does have heated seats. Of course, you do have normal manual controls for the HVAC system, but the actual system is electronically operated with actuators in there. Of course, defrost, front and rear, hazard button, which also flashes with the turn signals when it's pressed. AC and recirc, of course you want to have that on when you have the AC going. Your volume knob, mute button, and if you have Apple CarPlay, that also doubles as the pause button. Park assist, which will shut off the park assist sensors front or rear depending on which ones you want to shut off. There is a settings screen in there where you can permanently shut off the front ones there. And then of course the auto start stop button, or what I like to call this secondary push button start, since it actually does have a manual key to operate to be able to start the vehicle, which I will show you here, which is right here. Lock, unlock, and an alarm, which is obnoxiously loud. Key flips out, goes right in, and it's not like a normal key system where there's a bunch of like little clicks. It just rotates right over, and then you do that and it starts right up. One of the coolest things you will see in the Grenadier, it's kind of very airplane-esque, which I absolutely love, is this switch panel on the roof, which there's a lot of different functions up here, and basically it all pertains to off-road. So for example, power, if you flip that on while the vehicle is off, it powers your 12-volt sockets and the 110 in the tailgate area. EXT1 is a switch for a 10 amp under the hood so you can wire up something on the front of the vehicle. EXT2 is your top right over here. EXT3 powers the far right rear and the 2 driver's side roof connectors up there, which are Deutsch plugs. EXT4 is for your winch because it's a 500 amp, and I will show you guys how to use that later as well. EXT5 is also under the hood, which wires a little bit bigger just because it is a 25 amp. It should be like a 12 gauge wire versus the EXT1 that's also under the hood, which should be probably like an 18 or 20 gauge wire. And then interior 1 and 2 are both 10 amp, and they're both down in the kick panels right over on each side. So EXT2 and 3, basically these are what I'm talking about on the roof. Both of these driver side ones and the right rear one go to EXT3. The one that's on the opposite side of this, on the passenger side, goes to EXT2. Up here you do have your rear and your front differential locks, but you will have to engage the rear and the front separate from each other. Off-road mode, you will hold it for a second, wait for the screen to pop up, and then you press it again to confirm that you do want to go into off-road mode. Same for waiting. Assistance, you can turn the electronic stability control off, and you also have a downhill assist as well. And you can also adjust the level of the exterior lights, the regular headlamps, and then the auxiliary lights, you have to be in off-road mode with the headlights on and the brights on for these to be able to turn on. Of course, you do have regular map lights here as well. Doors open, so they're currently on. You have automatic, so you can shut them off, so you can when the door is open it doesn't actually turn on, and then you can just turn them on manually so it doesn't so you don't have to have a door open for them to turn on. The specific one does have safari roofs, which you just flip it up and over, and then you can also undo this just like that, and then the glass can completely remove, which if you do have these, there is a bag in the back of the vehicle generally that you can throw the glass into. Both of them will fit. Coming around to the back seat, you do have the same general door panel in here as well. Same flooring, which this is completely waterproof, and you can pull it out, wash it off, kind of like a rubber floor mat, but they do also have rubber floor mats that go in here as well. Same seats, the grayish black with the white center. Sitting in the back here, you can tell you definitely sit higher than the drivers. And you also have a 120 outlet back here. You also have a USB-C and a general USB as well. And 2 vents, which do blow hot or cold air depending on what the driver has everything set to. Up here in the center console, this does lock. It does have a key that can go up there to lock it. You have a 12 volt, a USB-C, and a general USB as well, and a bit of storage space as well, which is pretty nice. The specific one has the access ladder, which you can climb right on top of the vehicle with. You will get up here, hopefully, and not die. But you can climb on top of the roof, which it does support about 330 pounds without a roof rack, and with a roof rack up to 900. And this does have a split load opening door, which is pretty cool, because you can just open this side, throw something in. You don't have to open the entire thing, but if you do, it's a nice little grab handle which releases right there. And then you have all this extra space. This specific one also has utility rails inside as well as the outside, so you can tether things down to it. So say you're going to go off-road, want to keep your cooler from sloshing around back here, you can put some ratchet straps on it and kind of keep it all in place. Over here you also get another 12 volt power outlet. Under here you have a little cover that comes off, and you have another little 120 volt. And if you pop this off as well, you have the vehicle jack. Now with this, it only puts out, or is able to hold about 400 watts, so it cannot run like a coffee maker or something. Coffee makers are like 1200 watts, something like that. Over here on the big split load door, you can get an optional tailgate table that kind of flips down, but you also do have this little area, standard on all of them, for a little bit more storage. Generally you put the safety kit in there if you did get that. Coming to under hood here, this does not have shocks, so it does have a normal hood prop, which I personally actually like, just my opinion, but you don't really see much. But you do have the BMW B58 under here, which has been detuned specific for this vehicle, so it makes 280 horsepower, 330 pound-feet of torque, and it's just really, really good for off-road. It's the same exact engine in the 2020 and newer Toyota Supra. I believe this is the Gen 1, and I believe the new Supra technically has a Gen 2 or a Gen 3, but same exact basic concept. Now, everything is pretty accessible here. You have your power steering reservoir, engine oil cap, washer fluid reservoir, brake fluid, coolant for low pressure and also for the heater, and then coolant high pressure, and that's for engine cooling. Over here you will see a positive point where you can jump the vehicle. This is positive, and if you want to ground it, you will ground it right there on the little hook for when they pull the engine. So these are the auxiliary lights that you need to be in off-road mode for, with the high beams on to be able to turn on. Overall, the front of it looks really good in my opinion. You also get these 7-inch headlights that are completely sealed HID with this ring around it, which also doubles as the turn signal and daytime running light. Of course, it is a high beam in there built in as well. Over here you have the power steering cooler. On this side you have the transfer case cooler. Right in the middle you do have the transmission cooler and the radiator and condenser. And then there is no actual intercooler on this, which is odd. Overall exterior of the vehicle, very nice. You do have a side step on this specific one, which has been installed. This does have the raised air intake, which is not an actual snorkel. It is not sealed to the fender, so it does not increase how deep you can go in water, but it does keep basically dirt and sand from being kicked up and getting sucked right into the air filter, so it does help with keeping your air filter clean. Out here we do have the exterior utility rails, which you also can get installed after the fact if you didn't get them from the factory. They just can be kind of expensive just because for some reason import cost, I'm not exactly sure. It's just obnoxious how much they charge for it. Under this spare tire cover, of course, is the spare tire, but there is an optional spare tire lockbox that you can put on here, which you can store more things inside of. This one just has a normal little flat little basically block off plate that just says Grenadier across it, but you also do have a towing interface on some models, which if you do get it, this is a 2-inch receiver. I think technically it is a 50 millimeter, so it would just be just under 2 inches, but a 2-inch receiver will fit in this. It's a little tight, and sometimes they're a little bit too big to slide in there. Now, you do have a 7-pin connector for towing. You do have, of course, these little rings, so when you actually have to get the vehicle towed, you can mount it up, hook it up, get it tight. Right down here, if this has it, I will show you guys. It does, so you have a positive and negative little terminal there, so that is for the rear mounted winch. So if you do have that, it goes into the hitch point here, and then you plug it up to the power and ground right there, which you also turn on the 500 amp relay basically to turn that on as well. For wheels and tires on this, of course, you can get alloy wheels or steel wheels. There are 18-inch and 17-inch. These specifically are the 18-inch, wrapped in a BF Goodrich KO2, pretty much the best off-roading tire you can get. It's a 255/70/18. The 17s come in at 265/70/17, which just accommodates for the different rim size there. The brakes in the front are a 2-piston caliper. The brakes in the rear are a 1-piston caliper. Both front and rear do have Brembo brake pads, which feel really, really good when you're braking in this vehicle. Alright, winch operation, you do need to have the vehicle running. This little remote, you will hold the power button until that light turns green. If it doesn't pair up with the vehicle, you will have to hold the in and out button once you have that flipped on. Now, of course, it will notify you up here to be in park, reverse, or you can't be in park, you have to be in reverse, neutral, or drive. So I'll just hop in neutral, leave the vehicle with the parking brake on. We'll come around to the front here. Now, to operate the winch, you'll slide that to the side, flip that up, make sure it's not in free spool, and you can spool it out, or of course spool it back in as well. which this needs to be tightened around the barrel, which is a pretty simple fix there, but yeah. Standard winch operation, so this is locked in. This to the side is free spool, so you can just pull on this basically and run it to wherever you need to. Alright, so like I was saying earlier, to get into off-road mode, you'll hold this for about a second, wait until it blinks, and it will say, warning, you're now entering off-road mode, blah blah blah. Press it again to confirm. It'll glow a steady orange, and then it says off-road mode on. Vehicle must be secured with handbrake. You just accept, and please confirm that you want to disable all ADAS functions, and okay. So now you will have all these lights that pop up. So stability control, traction control are disabled, front camera and front crash detection is all disabled, off-road mode is on, and the warning light, warning triangle, just letting you know that, hey, we are in off-road mode. You also do not have the chime for the seatbelt. It will still show you, but it will not chime at you. Alright, so I found this nice little off-road kind of trail, which should work really well to kind of test, because there's quite a bit of suspension articulation in this, and we should be able to see what this thing can do. So I just have it in 4 high center diff lock, which I actually think I'm going to switch to 4 low here. So I'm going to take it, put it in neutral, pull back, kind of roll a little bit to kind of get the gears to kind of mesh, because it does not have synchros in the transfer case. So now we are in 4 low center diff lock, and here we go. Little bit of slippage there. Now I'm stuck. So now I'm going to engage the rear diff lock. So I held it for a second. Now that's engaged, and this thing is just crawling like crazy. It's just bonkers. Jeez. I'm surprised I haven't touched the side steps to the ground. It's crazy. This thing just crawls like no other. And then there's a nice little rock here. I call it little, but it's actually pretty big. It's probably about 3 feet tall. And yeah, that just crawled out like nothing. This thing is amazing. Got it stuck and was able to get it out no issue. Now if you just move it over from center diff lock over to just regular 4 low, it does disengage the center diff lock. Rear diff lock is also disengaging as well. It will automatically do that. You put it in neutral, throw it back in 4 high, and you should be all good to go. Alright, here's an off-road launch test. Center diff locked.
It's not bad.
Yeah, just hooks and goes.
Yeah. Threw me back in the seat a little bit.
Yeah.
Ow.
I wasn't expecting that to...
Thank you for the leaf.
You're welcome. Quality.
Jesus Christ. Takes
was...
a car for review, brings it back in pieces.
Yeah, that's what I do. You gotta test it to make sure it's an actual car. And driving these things on sand, like when I was in Moab, absolute blast, because they just handle so well, and you just floor it and it just throws up a bunch of sand.
That's
and
cool.
Just takes off.
That's super cool.
It's great.
It honestly rides really well, like
Yeah.
on the dirt. I mean, granted, this is like hard packed road,
Yeah.
so it's not that bad, but it rides really well.
Yeah. Here we have this Grenadier on a lift, and I'll be able to go and show you guys some things under the vehicle as well. There are Goodrich stainless braided lines, which is really good for off-roading so they don't stretch, especially when you have really articulated suspension off-road. Up here you do have the steering stabilizer shock, which when you're off-road you will notice, you will hear that bell noise, which it is just this casing that smacks up against this housing. It is normal, will not impede operation, can get annoying after a little bit, but you will notice it. You have these big beefy Carraro axles, not Recaro, but Carraro, which is a axle manufacturer that creates axles for tractors. You do have these pretty beefy drag links and a lot of just really thick suspension components, like even these control arms are really thick, these frickin' shocks are really thick. Everything is just designed really to be built on purpose for off-roading. On the US spec, we do not get the same shielding that they have that bolt into place under here to help protect from like rocks and anything. Under here, we do at least have the one for the fuel tank, which is pretty beefy. And for the exhaust, it is a really nice, to me it looks like it's about 3.5 inch, maybe 3 inch, pretty much all the way back, all the way to, it looks like the muffler. And it sounds amazing there. Transfer case, of course, rear drive shaft, back to, of course, another rear Carraro axle. You will notice on the back side of the brakes there is no heat shields. I mean, there's this kind of slight one here for the tie rod, but there's no actual heat shield or dust shield to prevent rocks from getting up inside. These do have factory iBox springs on here, which do work really well, and everything on here is just absolutely beefy. But yeah, there's the nice little Carraro label. Going over electronics, this is like the main home screen, so you'll have audio up here, favorites if you have your phone connected, but you don't have Apple CarPlay connected. You do have an off-road screen, which is really cool. So it says attitude, but they haven't fixed that yet. It's supposed to say altitude. Now on here, you do have like pitch, roll, G-force, altitude, and steering wheel angle. So like right now I have the steering wheel turned to about 16, 17 degrees, somewhere right around there. You can also use this scrolling knob here to click over to the right there, scroll through. Here you do have tire temperatures, tire pressures, gearbox temperature, and the transfer case temperature. You do also have this follow path, or this what they call a pathfinder, follow path, record path, and road book. If you record path, I'm not exactly sure, but I am pretty sure if you click record path, it will literally trace every step you take off-road, and then you can follow that path back if you need to. This is your statistics, so latitude, longitude, altitude, your travel time, travel distance. It even shows your elevation change as well. And this is your electrical state there, so you have your battery temperature, battery voltage, state of charge, and what it's currently charging at. Like right now, because it's basically full, it's charging at 1 amp. Over here in a phone, you can pretty much connect, you can see contacts, things like that. You do have Android Auto, but you can also click and change between like regular radio stations, AM, FM. Down here, the mute button will of course mute the radio, but it doubles as a pause button when you're using Android Auto and things like that. You can of course connect USB or do Bluetooth if it's not connected via Apple CarPlay, of course. Now, if you're in Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, you do have maps, your music, phone, and if you're trying to get out of this screen so you can access all the settings, you just click that little dot, click the little INEOS thing, and it brings you back to this, so you can disconnect or reconnect phones. And then in settings, you do have a lot of features in here. I will get to that in a second. What I also wanted to show you guys is you have this nice little compass that does show your elevation and your degrees. Degrees not in temperature, as in direction. Now, as I was talking about earlier in the video with the favorites button down here, over here in general, what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down and CCI favorite. Most people, you can CCI favorite a bunch of different things. So basically, a lot of people is the ISA, the Intelligent Speed Assist. So when you click on that, it will automatically bring up the overspeed warning and everything just so you can shut it off right there, which is a nice feature. Now, for example, if you say want to turn off lane departure warning, you will get this front camera warning light that pops up. That you will also notice pops up intermittently while driving, and the reason it does that is it basically is there to warn you that either the camera is blocked, the camera isn't using all of the functions, it can't see lanes on the road, or it hasn't seen a speed sign in a while. So it's like, hey, I may not be able to help you in the event that someone brakes in front of you, you go outside of your lane, or the speed limit is a different speed. So it's telling you, I'm not working right now. That is a normal feature. It pops up pretty frequently. Now in here, because the radio or speakers don't necessarily sound the best, you can go in here and you can change the equalizer: flat, pop, rock, jazz, classical, news. I personally have it on rock. It seems to sound the best for my personal preference there. You can adjust display settings, display brightness. If you have the lights on it, of course, it'll dim the screen. Vehicle functions, a lot of different things in here, especially vehicle information. This one is a big one as well. So engine oil, you can see the level on-road, level off-road. It will give you that, and it will tell you that they have to have the vehicle running on, warmed up, and on a level surface to be able to get an accurate measurement. You have your front park distance control. Now back to vehicle information here. If we go to tire pressures, the tire pressure light likes to come on intermittently. If you have, it'll say high tire pressure or low tire pressure. And high tire pressure is when the system has seen the tire fluctuate above 5 psi of what you set it to cold. And what you set it to cold, so for example, this one may have been probably 42 in the front and probably about 45, 46 in the rear. And then you reset this and it saves those as your cold temperatures. And if it goes over 5 psi of those, so if it goes say 47 or 48 in the front, it will tell me my tire pressure is high. It is normal, it is okay. And if it goes below 5 psi there, so like 42, if it drops down to 38, it will throw the tire light on saying, hey, the tire pressure is low, may want to check it. It is a normal feature, and if the tires, of course, are cold, like if it's a really, really cold morning, tire pressure light will come on. And if it's a really hot day and you've been driving on the highway for a while, it builds up a lot of heat, tire pressures are going to rise probably 6-7 psi over what they are. It will throw the high tire pressure light on. It is normal. In here you also have your battery, which is same exact basically specs of when you're in the off-road mode screen. You can go down here to service interval. This one still has about 10,000 miles before it's technically due. Service interval, what INEOS says is about 12,000 miles. We do it at about 6 because you can't change your oil too often, and 6,000 miles in my opinion is a lot better. Now it'll also tell you the VIN of the vehicle, total distance driven, fuel level, and a lot of different things within this settings screen. You can adjust a lot of different things. You can even shut off the daytime running lights, which is pretty interesting there. On this left side, of course, you have miles per hour, engine RPM, your speed limit sign if it pops up, when it pops up, lane keep assist little dots there, what gear you're in, if you're in first, park, and also tells you if you're in 4 high or 4 low. Mileage and your current economy, at least that's what I have it set to right there. Of course you have fuel and engine temperature, coolant temp, but you can also change that to your average speed, average fuel economy, driven distance, and remaining range, and also driven time it looks like as well. But what I have seen so far, so you'll see my average economy is about 17.1. INEOS recommends or says that it should be 15 on the highway, 15 in the city. I've seen them actually average probably closer to 18 to 20, depending on driving characteristics. If you're going up and down hills, it's pretty good for what it actually is for being a shape of a brick. Of course, heated seats, you do have to be very direct with the button. If you just tap it or anything like that, it may not work intermittently. You have to really give it a good press. On either of the visors, this side or even the passenger side, you do not get a vanity mirror. It is literally just to block the sun. But on this, it also lets you know, as the driver, to operate the rear differential locks and everything like that. So you have to be in 4 low with the center diff lock to engage the rear diff lock, and then you can operate the front diff lock after the rear diff is engaged. If you disengage the center diff lock, it will automatically disengage the front and rear differential locks as well. On this left side here, you have an unlock and lock button for the door. Of course, if you just pull on the handle, it'll unlock the door. You have mirror adjuster, auto all down, but you have to manually and hold all of the switches up to get the windows to roll up. Left side of the steering wheel, cruise control, which if you press it, it will pop up with that little icon right below the miles per hour. On this left side stalk, you have auto headlights on, which will bring that up as well. And if you have the brights on, it will bring the blue one up. And you also have park lights as well, and off, which if you shut them completely off, the daytime running lights do still stay on. Of course, you have wiper down, just wipes them once. You have intermittent, and then full speed, which is 2 clicks up as well. Off, of course, you pull forward to spray the front. You push back to operate the rear wiper as well for spray. And these 2 buttons here are for just cleaning the rear window when it's raining out and you just need to wipe off the back little window. I'm going to set you guys on the hood here. Now what you guys just heard there is the electronic power steering pump, which is normal operation. That is the electric motor running in there. Just kind of makes that whine noise. This one has about 1,400 miles on it. This one, in my opinion, is fairly quiet. But as they break in, they generally get quieter, which is, I'd say, pretty good.
We were staying in Paris to get away from your parents, and I thought, wow, if I could take this in a shot right now, I don't think that we could work this out on the terrace. I don't know if it's fair, but I thought, how could I let you fall by yourself? Well, I'm wasted with someone else. If we go down, then we go down together. They'll say you could do anything. They'll say that I was clever. If we go down, then we go down together.
All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, share, comment down below. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. This 2024 INEOS Grenadier is probably one of the most fun vehicles off-road and is really rugged, rides amazing, and I hope you guys just enjoy it. Hope you guys have a great day.